prepared to go onto the front lines for this.
Okay. What about everybody else? I think we kind of determined that Farron and Morella, you guys were probably going to ride with the Knights, because you guys have a rapport with them already.
Yeah.
Kree, obviously, you're going to ride with the Lizardmen.
Pretty obvious.
Yeah, I would assume so. But what are there any preparations you guys make? Understanding that you, like, this is your second battle within, 12 hours of each other?
Yeah. It's probably the small scene, Merlot and Farron, that happens.
Okay. Where is it and what's happening? Is it like when you're buckling on armor or something like that?
Yeah, probably. As, she simply says, "Remember your orders, Farron."
I will, my Lady Morella. Good fortune to you in battle.
As long as I have these brave men and you at my side, I don't need that. But thank you.
Walls. That's a good point.
Depends on how you want to take it. Maybe
By the way,
it's even more than...
what do the Norsemen speak?
Most of them speak Common, or what would be the equivalent of Undercommon D&D is like probably like the Norse harsher language.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because in the Warhammer world, Dark Elves would speak Elvish still. Like, they're the same race. They just live in a different place in this particular setting. So Undercommon is kind of reserved to the savages, the beasts, stuff like that.
Okay.
But most of them would understand Common as well.
Okay.
There'd probably be a talk with Morella with probably a few of the knights to perhaps talk about formation.
Okay, and what's your advice to them?
Well, it seems like that their role is to just smash, if I'm getting that correctly, Hannibal. Right? That we're just simply going to charge. She probably wants them to be in a wedge formation.
Okay, sure. Yeah, it would be fighting mostly foot troops until if the Norsemen get to their horses, then there'll be some cavalry. But yeah. At the start, definitely mostly just foot troops.
Yeah. Then she'll probably just suggest a formation or two that they should probably use in this battle.
Okay. So. Yeah. I think that I'm not even going to make you roll for it because you have a rapport with these guys. You rolled really well during your fight with the Harpies, the initial fight with the Harpies. And so
yeah, I did.
They, Farron rolled really well. And so with Farron at your back, you're able to convince these people that, you know what you're about here. So, awesome. What about you, Kree?
Nothing very special. Kree's kind of tired. He was at the very start fighting the Harpies.
Correct.
So he's pretty exhausted. Just ride with his men. Let the Great Crest do what they do.
Yeah.
And
make everybody autonomous.
Just kind of be a Saurus Lizardman cavalry for the rest of the night.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So what is the plan of initiation here, Hannibal? Is the goal to literally blow the horns and charge in? Or is it to release the dogs and have them go in first, or what's the plan here?
I plan on actually being with the dogs.
Okay, you want to be with the dogs? Sure.
Because I want to charge into the camp.
Yeah, so I actually need
The Knights are also here too.
Oh, you want the Knights to be there as well? Okay.
You said that's what the general wanted.
Yeah, that's what he wanted, but there's not a whole lot of room, I don't know if you can hide either. You can either have the Knights or the dogs, I think.
Let's have just the dogs then.
Yeah, that's what I meant, is when he said that, he doesn't know the limitations of it, which is you can't cover everything. That's the
Yeah.
limitation of the.
Actually, if I'm willing to spend another slot, could I also cover the knights?
Sure, yeah, if you want to.
Unless it's concentration.
It's not. So, you know what? Let's spend both of my charges to have the knights also in cover.
Okay, sounds good.
That way we can come out quickly and hit them hard.
Okay.
Seems like a good strat.
So yeah, just another overgrowth. And before the battle starts, I like to go off on my own, pop an inspiration, and roll my d20 to get another spell slot back.
Okay.
I get it.
The 2 1s would have been hilarious.
Yeah, so I do have one spell slot.
Okay, good. I'm putting this up here because this is going to be Lord Groundberg. Because he's probably in charge over here.
He's in charge of the frontal while I'm in charge of the...
And then Farron and Morella and the Knights.
So we've basically got a 2-pronged attack.
Yeah. Awesome. And then the lizards and Kree and these dogs are right here. Cool. All right. So with your 2-prong attack in action here, who goes first? Does Lord Gromberg and Kree kind of lead the charge in first to alert them, and then you guys swing in from the flank? Is that how it goes?
Exactly.
Okay.
The moment they think that the attack is coming from that way, we release the attack on the other way.
Yeah, so maybe you use Dane as a messenger, right? You use the messenger system that you've developed, and you communicate with somebody over here. Okay, we're in position, right? So Lord Gromberg is on his mount, and he pulls out his sword, and everybody else pulls out their swords, as, you know, a la every war movie you've ever seen in your life. And he says, "Let us ride, men, to victory!" And he points his sword, and everybody begins galloping, and the horns begin blowing. And the baying of the hounds begins. And you can see immediately, like, the camp kind of erupts as if an anthill has been kind of, you know, poked with a stick. But it's slow moving. You guys have them off guard. So you guys are going to get a surprise round on these guys. Because of your superior tactics. So, let's go ahead and do this. Remove all turns. Yes, I would like to. Okay. Everybody go ahead and roll me initiative, but you guys are going to get a surprise round. And I'm going to give the people in the bushes, I'm going to give you guys advantage on your first attack. Or first roll, if you want to, like, not attack, if you want to do a, you know, some type of check, you'll get advantage on that.
Yeah. I think normally surprise rule is that you get automatic advantage. But I could be wrong about it.
I don't think so.
Yeah,
there's a difference between the enemy being surprised and having a surprise round.
Yeah, surprise round means you get to go first. And then we start normal initiative turn. But yeah, I think the actual surprised thing, like, these men are not going to be surprised. You're charging from some distance, but you guys are getting a surprise round because they're not going to be ready to fight you, per se.
Yeah. Okay.
All
right. And here we go. Sorry about that. Hey.
I think this is. Are these guys? I actually forgot what I classified these guys
I'm
as.
fucking ready.
There they are. There they are. Alright, so. Appropriately, they roll pretty low. Let's roll for some dogs. Aminals. They are much slower. I'm going to roll for the war horses separately. just because they're not technically like in the fight to start out with,
Mm-hmm.
because nobody's mounted. So this will determine kind of when they come into the fight.
Or if.
If
Yeah,
is a
because
good
I
word
have
as well.
something.
If
I have
is a
something.
good thing as well. Oh, that's appropriate. Um,
Amazing.
excellent. So, we're going to go through the order, and that'll be the order of your surprise round. So, Morella, this is kind of, and again, we're going a bit abstracted here. The clash happens. There's lizardmen and dogs, and Lord Groundberg and Kree are riding through the camps and trampling tents and biting and killing people. Hannibal gives the go-ahead for the cloak to be dropped and for you guys to charge in. And so you guys charge in, and what is your first action?
I definitely think a rousing war cry to increase the morale for the knights is in order.
Okay, so you want to use a charisma or a manipulation roll,
Yeah,
probably persuasion
And-
in this instance,
yeah,
unless you want to tell them they're,
something else.
Demoralize the opponent.
yellow-bellied, thumb-sucking idiots that don't know how to fight anything, and then they're like, "I'll show you."
That's one way to do things.
Listen, if we were on a pirate ship, I would have you roll intimidation. Okay, 100% intimidation would be the roll to make.
100%.
You said, would I have advantage with this roll?
Yes, absolutely. The first action you get to
Okay.
take in this round is advantage because you guys were in cover.
That's what I was looking for. Yeah. Okay, so let's do it. So here's the manipulation roll. Ooh.
It's not
Nice.
bad. It's a 20. Yeah, so I think the men catch on to the cheer and they're cheering in, and I think I think that because the men are so involved with it, instead of, because their morale's pretty high right now because fighting hasn't actually started, and you guys have the upper hand right now. But I think that
guys are
instead
fresh.
I will demoralize the enemy by 1 because all of you inspired all of your men to fight harder.
Hey.
Also, why did
After
the men
your
have
shout,
9?
everyone else shouts and we're all
Yeah,
charging.
yeah, and they weren't expecting you guys coming from this angle, and everybody's all, they're going crazy, and
Jumble.
Also,
I don't know what's
why
going on
did
right
the
now.
knights have reduced health?
they have reduced, they have lost some units in a fight before. You don't
Yeah.
just get more units.
No.
It's a war of attrition.
I think
Five
the-
knights have died in this campaign so far, I think, because they
Yeah.
started at 100.
5. And that was the dealing with harpies.
Yep.
And even then, that was only because of, like, some bad rolls.
Yep.
Yeah, I think some crits were involved in that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The knights are very good at their jobs.
Yep.
Cool. Yeah, so the enemy's going to have -1 morale for a while unless they start getting the upper hand, of course.
Okay. Then that is what I do.
Excellent.
As my action.
Farron.
So, we've already ascertained that I'm not great at huge skirmishes, so I'm going to focus my attention on some of the captains in the units.
So do you want to hunt?
Yes.
Fantastic. Roll me an investigation roll. Now, obviously, you're sticking with Morella, so, like, you can hunt, then be like, hey, Morella, there's a lieutenant, and then you both can go charging over there if you want.
So, yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Delicious.
You hunting can you can pull your allies into it if you find somebody. So go ahead and roll.
So I'll do this with the advantage.
Yep, absolutely. It's investigation.
Woo! Didn't even need it.
20.
Yeah, I think a 20 is definitely good enough. So, I think you see one, and he is, he pulls out his big old axe, and he kind of, like, pushes out of a tent right in front of you, and he just roars and shakes his axe over his head, and probably, like, chops at a horse driving by, and maybe he catches the horse on the side, and the horse kind of stumbles, and a knight falls down. But that catches your attention, and so you have identified him, so you can engage with him. And like I said, if any of your allies want to be pulled into that since you guys are currently together, you can totally do that if you want.
Yeah. I would shout, Morella, Captain at 11 o'clock. As I
What do I do until then?
I don't know why that was so funny. That was really fucking funny. Holy shit.
That was so stupid.
Stupid but good.
Yeah, that was
As I throw some arrows in his direction.
Yeah, absolutely. Indeed.
Would you have sneak attack on those?
No, he used the advantage for his investigation roll.
Okay.
Only the first action. So I think
Yeah,
this guy is
with
probably
my-
this. The nice thing about having so many, like, random characters made now in the game is I can literally just be like, it's probably about that. And just decide it's that.
Yeah, with my calling to Morella, where the captains are, she feels inspired when she
Alright.
gets to the next action.
Fantastic.
You forgot to roll for the knights and lizardmen.
Oh god, you're correct. And the dogs, actually.
Yeah.
So
Let me roll for that.
And-
I forgot I had to
Better
control
than
those.
ever, yes, thank you.
And this guy.
Lord Grunberg's gonna go with the lizardman, just like Kree, or with the lizardman, I should say. Creatures. That's what I wanted. And then humans, knights, appropriate, and then. Appropriate. But they still get their bonus round, so we'll arrange it at the end of this. Cool, so you drag Morel over there. Hannibal, you'd be informed of this. You could go with them, or you could do your own thing on your turn, just FYI.
Fuck that. I'll do what I want.
Okay. Alright, Kree. You guys are up in there now.
So yeah, like I said, I'm just gonna be some cavalry. I'm tired. It's been a long night.
So you just want to start hacking at some dudes?
Just want to start hacking at some dudes.
Okay. Appropriately, you're not very effective.
Appropriate.
A 15 is actually still a miss on these guys. So, you were hacking away, and again, you probably, like, injure some of them. But I'm assuming that that Noct is going to have a better time of it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that was Noct with the tail. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Yes.
Yeah, you land some blows, but probably nothing fatal right off the bat.
It is a slow charge from Noct. We're actually at the back of the group.
Right, yeah, totally. Yeah, and maybe, you know what, maybe that represents you not even really being in combat yet. Like, you haven't really found a great target yet. Dane
I'm just
gets
hitting
to go.
dead things already.
Right, yeah. You hit a guy with a fatal injury already, and he just falls faster.
Yes.
Dane gets to go, though. What does Dane want to do?
Dane is going to... he's going to inform Kree, because he's over there by there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
right?
totally.
He's going to inform Kree if there are any lieutenants.
Okay, so you wanna hunt with him?
Yeah.
Okay, roll an investigation.
He has advantage.
He certainly does. Yeah, I think you can find another lieutenant, Kree.
So now you know where lieutenant is, Kree.
All right.
And he's able to do an attack, right?
Dane?
Yeah.
Sure.
All right. He's going to shoot his bow at said captain with a legendary action.
I'm gonna move this over here. There we go. Well, he hits!
Roll a Constitution save.
Alright, let me, Let me get his token all set up. There we go. I'm actually just going to get Lord Gromberg out of here. He doesn't matter anymore. Alright, let me roll a con save. Nope, that's a note. Passes, barely.
Oh god.
But he does take 1 damage.
Yeah.
Okay.
Alright.
These guys don't get to go. These guys don't get to go. Hannibal, it's your turn.
I'd like to focus fire on the war horses, trying to reduce the mobility more.
Okay, sure. So you wanna? How do you want to do that?
Obviously, you can
just attack them. Yeah, there's definitely horses. The skeletal war horses around. Sure.
You know what? I'm going to go big.
Okay.
Hannibal's going to go big. He's going to blow his last 5th level spell slot. Cast magic missile.
Boom. That's a lot of damage.
Mm-hmm.
How much health do each warhorse have? Let's see here.
A lot.
They do have quite a bit of health, yes. But that is enough to blow a couple of them up, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Alright. You've begun weakening them so that they will be less effective when their turn comes around. And now I'm going to go with the knights and the lizardmen, because we're at the top of the order again.
Also, real quick, would that incur my...
No, we determined
it's
only when you use a sorcerer spell slot.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, that's how we ruled it. All right, so first is going to be the knights. So the knights are using their long swords. They get to make 2 attacks.
Damn.
Nice. Well done. Well done, men.
Very well done.
And
That's how we do it.
They're just smashing into these guys. How much health do these guys have per? They are Norses. Nope, they're warriors. Got it. The warriors. Oof. Yeah, the blow is significant to them. Reducing them. Luckily for them, their numbers are fairly high. But yeah, no, that smash definitely kind of took them from unawares. And then the lizards. They're going to attack both of their light spears because they're all mounted. They're charging spears. Okay, they're a little bit less effective, but probably appropriately.
Yeah, the dogs.
Oh, did I not? I also didn't roll for the dogs, but I'm going to go with them now. Thank you. I'm reminded.
There are technically 2 groups of dogs as well.
Yeah, I'm just going to roll them all at the same time. But you wanted them to focus on the other dogs, right?
The other dogs and the lieutenants.
Okay, yeah, totally.
Because technically, they all have... the handlers know the description of the lieutenants.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Let me... Battle floofs. Yep. It's accurate. Okay, here we go. They only get 1 attack with their bite. But I am going to roll that because I'll increase the damage if they are able to succeed on that. So, we need the other doge. And it is a strength saving throw. They pass for now. But they do take the hits. And how much health do these dogs have? a fair amount, but they're definitely caught unawares and take some injuries. Okay, did I roll the... Okay, I didn't. Let me roll the initiative for these guys real quick. Did those... Initiative... Okay, there we go. Alright, so this one will be much quicker now that we have all that in there. Morella, you get to go first. You've been drug into this, you know, the single combat with this lieutenant.
Oh, yeah. I'm gonna fuck this dude up.
Yeah. He sees, like, Farron's arrows pierce him, and he kind of turns and sees the two of you coming towards him.
Yeah. So, I am going to take the attack action and fuck this dude with my spear.
All
So,
right.
here we go. Here is the first one. Pew!
Damn!
Damn. Second one.
Damn! Well struck. You're able to catch him kind of in the side, and he grabs onto the spear and is drug a little ways and, like, takes some hits, like his head bounces around a little bit. But then he tumbles off and turns to address you. Anything else you would like to do?
Well, I would like to bash him.
Okay. You want to knock him
but-
prone?
I think thematically, it would make sense to knock him prone because I'm on horseback.
Yeah.
So, try to get him off his feet. So, yeah, let's do the prone.
Totally.
So, boom.
Athletics
Here's
versus
the
athletics.
Beat an 11. Jeez.
You rolled a 2.
Lols. I also rolled an 11.
So that means player wins.
Yep, PC. I also rolled a 2, by the way.
Jesus.
So he is knocked prone.
Battle, dude. Like,
Battle for the ages.
Yeah, and it's probably as you charged him, right? That he's knocked
Yeah.
prone.
The battle of two people with the flu.
well, I can't get disease, so.
Flu isn't a
Paladins.
disease.
Anything
Last week
else?
found the paladin's true weakness: viruses.
Anything else?
I think that will be it, though.
Okay. Which brings us to Farron. He's prone, ready for your stabbing.
Yes. What kind of equipment does he have?
He literally has a great axe, and he is wearing leather armor.
I'm still waiting for the day to fight someone in full plate. Okay. But yeah, I also charge up and go stabby stabby.
Okay.
And would Morella still be within range of him?
Yeah, absolutely. You
Well,
guys.
he's also prone, so you have advantage.
Yeah, it's the two of you fighting this guy.
So a total of 23 damage, which is fairly nice.
Not bad. He looks bloodied by your continuous battering of him.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Kree, it is your turn.
So I'm gonna start heading to where I've seen this lieutenant. Oh,
Okay.
I totally forgot to roll up knocked because he's a different creature.
Oh, you did. That's okay.
Yeah, it's whatever. It doesn't matter.
Lols. It's literally
Oh,
it's
great,
literally right
great.
now.
Great. There. Now I can actually roll knocked and put him at 13.
It's okay. It's literally right now. Like it didn't
Okay,
change the order
so-
at all.
Yeah, great. Perfect. Awesome.
He also should have attacked before then.
It's
so,
fine. One attack probably isn't going
yeah.
to make or break this.
Yeah, it's fine. There is Kree as he heads toward the lieutenant.
Yeah.
No. Knocked, you are a monster.
So your lance. So this guy's armed a bit differently. He's actually using. He's got a longsword, and he actually does have, I think, heavy chainmail. Let me look at his character real quick.
Baron's so jealous.
Yeah, he's got a longsword, and he's wearing heavy. It's actually 16. So yeah, it's chainmail. So your first blow actually glances off of him, but Noct is able to impale him quite heftily.
Is he on the ground?
Correct.
I have advantage.
Correct. That is a good point.
Hey.
So you do stab him and deal quite a hefty blow to him. He's kind of picked up off his feet a little bit and stumbles and falls to a knee and then stands back up.
Hey, yeah. All right.
All right, it's the puppy's turn. Puppies are gonna attack. Dun 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 dun. They actually hit with that? They do. Interesting.
Puppers away.
Let me make a saving throw. They fail. All right, so the dogs, their brutish efforts are paying off.
Almost like I planned it.
Glorious.
Yep. They're able to do significant harm to them. Noct. It's Noct's turn.
Yeah, go Noct. Noct is gonna continue biting at this lieutenant.
Yeah, absolutely. That is a strike and some damage.
I love you,
He
Noct.
looks bloodied by that. All right. The men have coordinated themselves to get a blow here, finally.
Who are they going to attack, though?
They're going to split their attacks. So some of their attacks are going to go on to the knights. Some of their attacks are going to go on to the other cavalry. Because they're not... I mean, they're engaged with the dogs, but we'll let the dogs fight the dogs here in this instance. And so most of them are using these maces. So
You could say it's a dog-eat-dog world.
on the knights, nope. And on the lizards, I don't think 14s. Nope, not enough. So they do reduced damage to both of those.
Hey.
Yeah.
So one knight falls. Is probably the knight that the big guy took out when he knocked him off his horse. The others just went over and beat his head in.
Yeah.
And oh, you do have protection fighting style. So maybe Morella, as you rode past the guy, maybe you actually protected him.
Yeah. I imagine it thematically as the guy who got knocked off in the beginning, and then the dude was just gonna swing down heavy on him, and I was like, nah man, that ain't gonna happen today.
Absolutely, that is what happened. Now, the lizardmen are a little more squishy than that. And they do take some blows, but not many. Pretty insignificant in the grand scale of things. And it is their turn. So they will spirit up. Hey, they actually did something. And what do these guys have? I keep forgetting how much they have. 11. All right. Their numbers are beginning to thin. And then... All right. Excellent. The knights get to go. They're going to continue charging through and absolutely wrecking things. Oh, yeah. That is a hefty bit of damage. They actually did more than the lizards did in this round. So yeah, they just smash in and just begin hacking people, and the numbers are going down, slowly but surely. The battle seems to be going in your favor. Dane, what is Dane going to do?
Dane is going to investigate the health of the Norskin men.
Oh, okay. I think this is a perception check because it's kind of an in-the-moment evaluation of their health.
Would he also get an advantage because he can overlook the entire battlefield?
Sure.
Right.
Didn't need it.
Or so I will give you a number, but I don't think you get to see their health yet. I think it's going to require a better roll than a 10. So it appears they look to be at about 90%. Somewhere in there.
All right.
So you are killing some of them faster than they're killing you, but there's a lot more of them, right? Like, you brought a pretty small cavalry force to fight 1,000, 1,500 men or whatever. And they're so spread out, too, so they're starting to kind of form. The dogs, finally, they get their attack back. And it's going to be on the other dogs. Now, they do get 2 attacks.
Poppers low.
Oh, wow, they rolled like garbage. But I don't know, actually. No, they didn't. Wow. Yes, these do have a disease, which is kind of nasty.
Yeah.
And
That shit sucks.
the hounds are a little bit more susceptible to taking damage than the rest, because they are not particularly strong. They're meant to kind of hit and run.
Okay, yeah.
All right, Hannibal, it's your turn.
I'd like to jump into a group of Norsemen,
Okay, you can do so.
and then I cast Hex on one of them.
Okay, and you just start blasting at them.
Here's the thing, though. I need to roll a D100.
Oh, boy.
Yes, you did.
That's why I jumped into a group with them.
Just in case, right?
Yeah, you never know. Also, I do
Alright.
not have my book up, so
I have
everybody else.
it right here. Let's see it. A 39. Ha! You regain 2d10 hit points.
I feel stronger than ever.
Yeah, so you're like slightly glowing as you like launch in and like hex one of them, and this like light kind of shines from you as you're healed. They probably like cover their eyes a little bit, and then you blast them, I'm sure, right?
Fuck yeah. Getting loaded of all this bullshit.
Yeah, let's see it.
Shabam, Kanye lasers.
I mean, the Kanye lasers are obviously extra effective. Oh, yeah. You start messing a couple of them up, and they just, like, and they're starting to get blasted back, and, like, after you do this, like, the men you're riding with, or the hounds, and maybe some of the knights, too, that you're riding with, kind of, like, join and push forward with you. Awesome. Skeletons are not mounted yet, so when we get to the top of the order, we're actually gonna switch scenes, and we're gonna head over down to Arkady sipping his delightful tea or whatever he sips in the morning, and thinking about things in the tavern. And Arkady, you hear like some kind of like muffled, not shouting but like loud talking. And then very quickly after it, you hear very heavy boots, like, kind of running 2 or 3 at a time down the stairs. And you see Cahill kind of come down, and, yeah, I mean, he doesn't look quite as regal as he normally does. He looks like he slept in a chair. And he kind of, like, lands in the bottom step with a heavy thud, and, like, his eyes kind of, like, glance around the room. And you can see the 3 guards that were outside, they kind of, like, come down after him, like shouting like sire, sire, and he like looks around and his eyes fall on you, and he kind of like he sees you and he kind of like does the thing where he runs his fingers through his hair and kind of like, you know, like shakes it off a little bit, and he assumes his pose again, and he takes a few sauntering steps over to you, and he sits down in the chair where Aelin was sitting and says, Ambassador, it's good to see that you made it through the night unscathed. That golem gave you quite a run, I saw.
Yes, but unscathed is my battlefield specialty. You will be pleased to know that the High Priest was also much better when she woke.
Ah, so you saw her, Lady Ashriver. She came through here.
Yes, seemed very intent. I can only assume that her diligence, as ever, demands she continue tending to the fallen in the battle.
Yes, she can be a very difficult woman in that manner.
I imagine from her perspective, anyone who tries to stop her is the difficult one.
Yeah, and I think he chuckles, kind of like a lighthearted laugh. And you can see the men who have been like following him, thinking like they're in trouble or whatever. He just kind of like looks and he just kind of like waves them off, and he kind of visibly like leans more casually in the chair now that it's clear everything is okay. And the servant comes up to him and he orders some calf, and eventually it's brought to him and he sips it and he sits there in silence for quite a while. Do you say anything to him while he's like kind of just sitting there, clearly lost in his own thoughts, or maybe waking up because he got about the same amount of sleep as you did?
I'm trying to think of what would be top of mind based on what happened, because he obviously wasn't in condition to go with the strike force, but I have yet to hear anything from our the force sent north to the camp. Might I ask if you have any intentions on how to deal in the aftermath?
It very much depends, Arcadion. Well, how much of them they are able to slay. If they drive them off simply, then I fear we may have to hunt them down. I do not want Norsemen running amok in the lands, but if they're able to keep it contained and effectively wipe them out, then I suppose we move on.
Certainly running amok is not something you would want, but I would not advise, but note that the push toward the city may be more difficult if any of our soldiers are drawn off on chase. This could even be the intention.
You make a good point, Ambassador. It is possible that perhaps they were sent here to waylay us, so that defenses could be raised again. We had hoped to make good time towards the city, so that we may catch the forces there unaware of our motivations. But if their information is better than ours, which up to this point it seems like it is, perhaps the reason they were encamped there was so that we would see them. This is what you are suggesting, yes?
Quite. So, assuming that news of the battle is that it has proceeded well, as I am quite confident it will under circumstances, I might recommend that we redouble efforts to drive towards city as quickly as possible. If they are attempting to waylay, then they have much to lose if we refuse to be distracted, yes?
Indeed. And if they perhaps are driven off in the opposite direction, that would be less forces we have to deal with upon arrival. Say, this communication system that Hannibal developed, could it relay a message that we are on our way marching? Perhaps we can have their forces meet on the road and move the bulk instead of having them come back down south and then move on from here. Could we perhaps get a leg up, as they say, on the enemy if we were to move the main bulk of our horde right now?
I can hear the air quotes around his words. Is fair point. I am not certain the bulk of the forces are going to be enthusiastic about moving so swiftly. But yes, I would suggest perhaps that we communicate with Strike Force and see if they have carved a path for us.
Yeah, and he kind of you see him kind of glance outside to judge the length of the sun, and he says, yes, well, by all intents they should be either embroiled in combat now or preparing their charge. Perhaps I will find one of these priests and have them send a message. Get in contact with them. Perhaps it will give us more information. That is the point, isn't it?
Precisely. Speaking of sending messages, do you know of anything? I can only assume you have heard nothing of events as they have transpired in the city since the last to escape brought news. But
only what you told me about the golems and that possible necromancer.
No, I speak of Middenheim itself.
I see.
There is a great population there, yes, even if the forces have taken the city swiftly. People may hide in tunnels, people may do anything in defense of their homes. Even a street urchin may become vicious when cornered, yes. It is possible there are other forces awaiting to join with us further ahead.
Yeah, and I think he kind of smiles a mischievous smile, and he says, perhaps to open the gates from within, even.
It would speed matters, yes?
Yes, this I like, Ambassador.
So perhaps we speak with magicians and find those whose familiars may be best suited to dangerous long-distance mission.
Yes, that would be advisable. Although I understand that there is at least a limitation on the range that they can travel. Perhaps a few men as well. Some stout warriors, ones that can remain anonymous but also autonomous, as they say.
Yes. People who would have authority to give command, yes?
Indeed. I like this idea, but who would go? I feel wary to spare any of the leaders in our ranks, at least not too many of them.
This is true, and if goal is infiltration, we want as small group as possible, yes? Capable but unnoticed. On a related matter, Lord Cahill, I assume that, given our circumstances, the thought of the meeting of the Elector Counts has been nowhere near your mind in past days.
Yeah, and I think his you know what? Roll me an insight check.
Absolutely.
I think there's going to be a mixture of things here that you might be able to pick up on or not.
Let's see. Oh, look, inspiration.
Oh, look. Well, a 16's pretty good.
At least it's not bad.
Yeah, a 16's pretty good, and Cahill is good at covering things, but I think there are definitely some things that slip here. You notice just the faint twinkle of maybe that excitement almost, but is then immediately overshadowed by what you understand to be kind of sorrow, and then anger kind of comes in as well, and then there's worry, and it's the full roller coaster of emotions, and perhaps a little bit out of the ordinary. There's a bit of I think just right at the very end, there's that little bit of why is he asking me this? Like, not suspicion, but like kind of the like, an interesting, line to take. And you notice that he kind of like that's the like brief thought that kind of flashes and then it fades away. But I think he replies with, yes, it is something. We must gather them from all of the locations and hold a vote as soon as possible, especially in these times. I assume that they would...
In due time, of course, when I am sure the city has been reclaimed for the Empire.
Yes, absolutely.
You asked me the other day what my queen would expect if addressed by an equal.
Yes.
I fear there may be more complication in this path than you would like. I understand there was some degree of altercation between yourself and Lady Fairheart.
Yeah, and I think he kind of remains passive.
Yes.
Like, kind of go on.
Yeah. She has many skills, yes. Is capable warrior, has been working beyond diligently to earn trust, loyalty, and hearts of soldiers here, common folk, those who do not have vote in council. Yet, enough of the common people on her side is significant, yes, maybe would cause difficulty if the people and the counts had strongly differing opinions. This kind of instability would be troublesome in times such as these.
I agree completely, Ambassador.
So, I feel perhaps it would behoove the army if they were certain to be making best use of her proven skills, yes?
As one
She is
who has traveled
capable.
with her, what are
She
these
is-
skills that you speak of?
Tenacity beyond any human I have perhaps ever met.
You can see he's taking mental notes.
Developing flair for leadership. She has been trained brilliantly in combat, but very little in the ways of being an officer until this past year. You may understand. She has potential to be great hero to people of Empire. As well, I have spoken to her about her ambitions. She speaks of wishing to help the Empire to bring peace and prosperity to its people. And to be sure, she has considered the possibility that becoming emperor would be most direct route to solving problems as she sees. I fear, however, that she perhaps does not see that. He glances around to see if anybody is listening.
Yeah. And, like, there's probably been a few more people walking in and out, but they see Cahill and you sitting at a table talking. They're not going to approach within any reasonable distance. Unless invited.
Good choice on their part. Good.
Yeah.
So he just leans in a little bit. I fear if she was forced to understand political process is necessary in diplomatic negotiations and renegotiation of tax law and logistics and all the many points of business that emperors must deal with, she would bite someone to death within the day.
And I think that his simple reply is, yes, we need an emperor, not a tyrant.
Yes, perhaps in older times she would have been most appropriate candidate. But I feel Lady Fairheart, hero of the people, maybe more satisfied chasing down the enemies rather than trying to negotiate with friends of varying stature. So perhaps she needs... Perhaps military should recognize her considerable achievements in this campaign, which I have no doubt will continue to roll in like snow in November. Whatever you call it in Empire.
Yeah, no, totally, yeah. Now, just so you know, Kislev is obviously
Puts her one
planet
away.
Earth labeling system now. It's 100%.
Too late now, they even use the metric system.
Yep, absolutely.
So, in Aftermath, when glorious victory is attained and Middenheim is in care of those who will care for it again, recognition of heroes is important, yes. Those to give people faith in future when it seems all around them has burned. Yeah, I do not know the structure of your military. How do you... Who are the champions? Who leads the force on the field of battle?
Well, traditionally, during large-scale campaigns, the Emperor would ride with the people, the army, as you say, although I think that on the front lines is perhaps a bit ambitious, although it has been known to happen. The greatest of us all, Sigmar, may his name ever be holy, was known as a warrior. It's how he became who he was and how he deified himself. But
To be sure, but perhaps this is ambitious for those who must bear the weight of the imperial mantle today.
and this is no longer a world that, or this is no longer a land that thrives in war and battle and constant raiding. It is far more stable than that, and I would see it so. However,
Indeed.
there is
So-
certainly room for those with militaristic minds. This short excursion has taught me one thing. It is that, while I may be charismatic and have a way of speaking, I do not know quite as many tactics as others might. I can see the benefit of having positions drawn up for heroes, champions of the realm even.
Marshals for your forces, yes?
Indeed. Something perhaps outside of the generals. A
Yes.
figurehead for the people, you say. Someone they can adore and admire, while still serving their rightful emperor.
Yes, this is as I would suggest. And perhaps this opportunity would be more enticing than... I'm fine, I'm not coughing to death. Perhaps this would be more enticing opportunity to one who prefers to see direct impact of actions on people's lives.
Yes.
Usually impact of sharp object in horrendous monsters' vital organs.
I definitely think that some sort of accord can be drawn up.
Is worth considering. And this may greatly simplify the dilemma for the counts and the people before one could arise.
Indeed. Yes. I think that what you say, Ambassador, is of a wise form, and I appreciate your candor. It is not something that is notoriously well known among my people at times.
Yes. When standing around for too long mean you freeze to death, you learn to cut to point.
Yeah, and I think he chuckles and says, "Would it be that I was a Kislevite? Perhaps we would have met under different circumstances and ruled that fine nation together, Arkady. But alas,
I would not aspire to rulership, but I am happy to advise those who do.
Then I think that while our friendship has already begun, it will be quite prosperous in the future."
So I hope. You should perhaps further discuss matters with those whose counsel you trust, who might also know her ladyship well.
Yes. I think that perhaps when Lord Graunberg returns, I will ask him of the manner in which she conducted herself during the battle.
I have no doubt it will strike awe in faces.
Yeah, and I think he smiles and kind of raises his mug and takes a long drink out of it and sets it on the table, and he stands up and he says, "Well, I must be off. There is a lot to see to and advise on after last night's battle. I think that
Yes, of course.
also perhaps the men and women should prepare to move quickly. By latest midday tomorrow. Should begin preparations."
Agreed. I will speak with those who are available to us now.
He kind of nods, and he turns to walk away and kind of gets a few steps, and he turns around and he says, "Thank you again, Ambassador. You are perhaps my most insightful advisor at this time."
I thank you, but as your most insightful advisor, I will remind you, of course, my interests are always the interests of Kislev. You may wish a more local vizier.
Yeah, and I think he gives you kind of an impish smile and says, "I would have it no other way," and proceeds to walk out of the door, leaving you. And then I think that the final scene before we cut to break here is, Aelin, where did you go?
She said she was going to go find Daniela, but I think she actually found herself wandering back out to the barn.
Yeah. So I think we see Aelin, like, maybe just, like, you, like, walk up and you, like, touch the door, you know, kind of like that, like, is this real, right, kind of touch, and we see kind of, like, leaning up against a tree, maybe, like, you know, fidgeting with something. We see Kira kind of watching you out of the corner of her eye, but hidden in the shadow. And on the other side, we see Mel, who's also kind of, like, doing the same thing, just kind of watching you and seeing what's going on in the shadows, seeing what you're doing. And then we'll go ahead and cut the break. Do we mind doing a short break today? Maybe, like, only 5 minutes?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
So be back at 10 after, guys.